Oh
Well,
man, don't I know it?
well, hello everybody again. Although this time it's to the YouTube audience, not the Twitch audience. Twitch got like a 4 minute or 2 minute thing. We are here live on thing. I am again with, as usual, with the magnificent Metal. And as I asked him already, probably 2 or 3 other times, how is Metal doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Like I said, I'm almost done with this manga, so I'll be doing a lot better once it's finished.
Yeah, I can believe so. Of course, I am coloring my character from last night, Devilwoman. Although I think I need to attach there or do something for her neck, make it blue too, because her face mask is supposed to be blue, so there needs to be a separation somewhere from the blue from the white.
That sounds kind of racist.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Is it? Is it? We never
What do you got
know.
against blue people?
No, nothing against blue people, just the color blue.
You're going to be expecting a explosive package from the Blue Man Group one of these days.
Yes. Will that package make me blue?
Maybe if there's anything left of you.
Uh, could just be exploding blue powder and cover me all in blue paint, or whether making me part of making me blue.
Oh, like those vacuum sealed confetti envelopes that people used to send to people.
Yeah, something like that, I guess.
I do think that would still be legally terrorism, though, because I believe those confetti envelopes fell under terrorism.
Okay. Well, that's not a good thing. And are you showing anything for anybody to see tonight? I never asked.
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Oh, that is good. I'm gonna actually make sure everybody is here that we are live streaming. Yeah, we have 3 viewers, 4 playbacks. Average watch time thus far is a minute. We're doing real well. But that is good. Okay, so now back to some coloring. Some good old fashioned coloring. That's gonna help. I think I gotta get a couple lines here so it doesn't select more than what I want.
Do you often have a problem where it selects more than what you want?
Yeah, because I don't know how to close lines on properly. And I know there's going to be a joke in there somewhere on my behalf.
Well, I don't have a joke ready, but what I was going to say is I usually have the opposite problem. I select less than what I want because I have way too many tight corners in my line art, and the selecting tool usually likes to drop those corners.
Ah.
Yeah, that's why I have to like go in there and manually paint in the color I want into the corners, so then I can select the whole color later.
Yeah. So, I don't know what to say. Yeah. Oh, I watched the Batman trailer.
Oh yeah, because I was talking about that after we got off air. What'd you think of it?
Oh, right. I'm thinking it's going to have something to... It makes me think something to do with the Red Hood.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that got snuck in there towards the end, but the main antagonists are the Riddler and the Penguin, who have already been casted.
Okay. Because I did not know that. That changes things. Because it just seemed like it had something to do with a little bit the Joker and all. Unless I saw the wrong one. Because I didn't see anything.
No, you probably saw the right one. You're talking about the clowns he beat up that look like Joker gang members?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were setting up for that early on, because it does seem like they're going to try to make a legacy out of this.
Yeah.
But the Riddler, which you probably saw that there were like riddles set up in there and question marks were put in and everything. And the Penguin have already been casted.
Okay. Also, I saw Catwoman in it.
Yeah, played by Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
And actually, I think they finally got a good pick for Catwoman. I could be wrong, just going by the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen Zoe Kravitz in too many things.
Yeah.
So I'd probably have to see more of it to discern, but she could be good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying 100% sure. I'm just, like I said, I'm going off the trailer. The little bit that I've seen in the trailer. She looked good, way better than Michelle Pfeiffer, not to take it away, but they wrote that Catwoman wrong, of course, way better than Halle Berry's Catwoman, and it looks way better than the one from...
Oh, yeah, I like Anne Hathaway a lot as an actress, but she just was not Catwoman.
And I'm not sure whether to blame her for that or blame the writers. I think I have to
blame Christopher Nolan for literally everything in that series.
Okay. So, that's my take on it. Anyways. So I did not know the Penguin and the Riddler were going to be there. No. So I might have to rewatch it, taking that in.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people were getting skeptical because they're seeing another black woman play Catwoman, with Halle Berry. But I don't really care because Eartha Kitt was my favorite Catwoman.
Yeah. Was she black, the woman that was playing Catwoman?
What, Eartha Kitt? Or the one in the new movie?
The new one in the new movie.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz. It's the daughter of black rock singer / guitarist Lenny Kravitz.
I have no idea who that is. I'm bad.
You've never heard the song Fly by, or is it Fly Away? I can't remember the name of it. But by Lenny Kravitz. It's the
name Lenny Kravitz.
I want to fly away.
The name Lenny Kravitz.
He also did a cover of American Woman.
I do recognize the name Lenny Kravitz, but that's about it, I would have to say. I don't know the name, or the name seems familiar. Beyond that, I don't know much. I wouldn't know much about him. But now, you're saying he's rock or a music star. I'm not sure whether rock or what.
Yeah, it's rock. He was popular, I think, in the late 80s through the 90s.
Uh-huh. I didn't realize she was black in that. Or maybe
she's pretty light skinned. So surrounded by a black suit, that probably makes her look even lighter by comparison.
Yeah. You know, I don't know what it is. Some characters you just can't see as thing. And Halle Berry as Catwoman, I guess I could have taken it. It's just that script was just so bad.
Well, and like the character really wasn't Catwoman.
Yeah, there's that too.
Right? Like maybe it would have done better. Like it would have been an okay, not a great movie, but an okay movie if everything was just like original names and had nothing to do with what your expectations.
Yeah. To me, I referred to that movie as Legends of the Catwoman. Instead of Legends of the Batman, it's Legends of the Catwoman.
Yeah.
That's about.
But like I said, Eartha Kitt, which is like one of the 3 Catwomen from the original Batman series, was my favorite Catwoman. So
Yeah. I'm not sure which one was my favorite from that. I have seen all the episodes, so they were all pretty good. Although she had...
Yeah, she just had like such a wide range of expressions and really got like the feline aspect of it down right.
Yeah. But then again, most, I'd say anybody doing any of the villains that appeared in that series, they really have something to compare to,
Yeah, they were really trying to be like the closer to the golden age versions of those characters too.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were pretty spot on for at least what your expectation of those characters were at the time.
Yeah. The Joker, in some ways, I still think the best Joker was Cesar Romero.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. I'll say that any day.
And probably the best Riddler, too, was the guy that played the Riddler in that. Although I think there was 2 guys that played him. I could be wrong. Yeah, because one was the guy from the Addams Family. But the other guy that played the Riddler in those...
I'm just upset that of all these media and stuff that create characters that end up becoming popular enough that you see them become mainstay in the comics, that Egghead never moved out of the show into becoming like a permanent villain in the comics, because I really like Egghead.
Yeah. Or King Tut.
Oh yeah, King Tut was pretty good too.
Yeah, that one had... I think about the only few that I'm glad didn't make it was like Frankie the florist guy, the flower guy or whatever. Although I guess he made it out in Poison Ivy. They changed gender and a whole bunch of other stuff. Although, totally different character really when you come down to it. So, and my mom says Cesar Romero was her favorite Joker. Is her favorite Joker as well. So, yeah, it's going to be something to see this new version and how it turns out. I know for Batman Begins I was happy with it. I think it was just more once when they went... It wasn't too bad for the one after Batman Begins, but the third one that they did, they just tanked it.
I didn't mind Batman Begins. I thought it was the best out of the 3 of them, but I just really dislike the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Just in general. Well, even Batman Begins sullies me because of the way they treated Ra's al Ghul as a character.
Yeah. Well, I guess to me it was better than, what's the name of it?
Well, after Batman and Robin, I think anything seemed like an improvement.
To me, it was even better than Batman with what's his name, Michael Keaton. But
Oh no, dude! I thought Michael Keaton, the first one, was much better than anything in the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
I guess it's just because maybe what got me for the what you want, the Michael Keaton one, is just I don't think Jack Nicholson was the right person to play the Joker.
I can agree with that.
So I think that's what did it in with for me, and just the storyline for the Joker in that.
Yeah, because they were kind of going with the Red Hood origin for the Joker, but without like going full on with it, kind of just rewriting it to work the way they wanted to.
And just the fact that the Joker was like way too old, for it and all that. There was just so much stuff. I think that's why those ones don't do it for me. I thought Batman Begins kept more to the spirit of Batman. And now, obviously, it didn't, have the exact origin either. The right origin. But with him traveling the world, to get his stuff, and then he just happens to run into Ra's al Ghul, who helps train him even more. It seemed to stick to some of the original stuff. I think that's why I like the Batman Begins ones better, except for number 3. Like I said, number 3, they totally tanked it. What is it? I've noticed a lot of times, the third, they can get a first one really good, the second one not bad, and then they just totally tank number 3s.
I don't know. I think it might have a lot to do with expectations, to be honest. Because if I'm like taking the movies apart, I actually thought 2 was the worst out of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by the third one, right, you're riding this roller coaster, and you're expecting like each individual movie they break down into a 3-act structure, but you're expecting if they do a trilogy that the trilogy itself is also going to be a 3-act structure where each movie is its own act. So really you're breaking it down into 9 acts, but each of the movies have to fit into somewhat of the theme of the 3-act structure.
Yeah.
So then the payoff of the third movie isn't big enough to warrant the fact that is the third of 3 movies.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to give you the resolution of that movie. And actually, I thought this is the one thing they did really well, because the third movie did play off of the themes of the first 2 movies, and there was a total resolution by the end, including seeing Bruce and Selina in the cafe living their own life.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, part of number 3, I couldn't have seen Bruce, sulking away for, 8 years or whatever it was because of what's her name died. To me, because of the Joker. I think, to me, it would have been more a resolution. I see Bruce more resolute in stopping crime.
Well, normally, I would agree with you, right? Because that's how we would see Batman as a character in general, right?
Yeah.
But in the world that they had built, that actually is the way that version of Bruce Wayne would have reacted to that.
Yeah.
And you see this subtly set up in the first movie. But this also goes back to my problems where I've had problems with this trilogy from the beginning.
Yeah. And maybe that's, like you said, expectation for me. I'm a comic avid, well, for it was at the time especially, fairly avid
and
comic.
I was too, so I have certain expectations of what Bruce Wayne is supposed to be.
Yeah. And what he does and all that. So, when he does do it, just like doesn't do it for me. It's like, okay, this makes this movie suck dramatically.
And the sad part is, like, Bale is a really good actor, and even kind of has, like, the look of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
If he was put into like a better movie with a better script and a director who didn't want to see Batman be a certain way, he actually could have been an excellent Bruce Wayne in Batman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I had no problems with him. For me, it was all the script.
Yeah, which has a lot to do with Nolan, because Nolan was also the head writer on the script.
Yeah. So, what do you do?
Yeah. What I would actually like to see, because the character I think he would play even better than Bruce Wayne. He's got the look for it, he's got the attitude, and as a character who's kind of like Bruce Wayne as well, is Smith from Big O, which is a Japanese. I don't know if it was ever a manga first. A lot of times it are, but I haven't seen the manga. An anime called Big O that I really liked, and the dude was kind of like Batman. He was like a billionaire that was a philanthropist during the day, but then at night he would fight crime. But the crime was like kaijus and other people with giant robots and stuff. So he had like this giant limousine that would transform into this like building size robot, and he would fight it.
Or fight with it?
Yeah. You'd fight like whatever the problem is with this robot. Yeah.
Interesting.
And even his performance as Bruce Wayne reminded me more of the main character from Big O than it did of Bruce Wayne, just the way the script was written and stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah. Jury's out till the movie comes out, obviously. I don't judge the movies. Yeah, I can say a trailer's good or whatever and hope for the best. But I'm not going to judge the movie till it's actually out in theaters. And I've seen it.
Here, I'll show it to you. You can choose whether you want to show it or not, but this is just so you can see it. That's the main character of Big O, Roger Smith, and tell me that he doesn't look exactly like Christian Bale.
Okay, give me a sec. Oh, yeah. Here, give me a second. There, everybody can see it. Not that, not sure how many we got watching here.
Yeah. But like, tell me, Christian Bale wouldn't be the perfect person to play him in a live-action adaptation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I actually would love to see a live-action adaptation of that series too. That'd be great. Just gotta figure out all my tabs. I don't know what's up. I can't figure out my tabs today. Everything's going wrong.
Yeah, we're half an hour in. Not a lot of people showed up.
You know what might help? Because we were in such a rush and stuff, I actually completely forgot to share this out, so I'm going to go do that.
Uh-huh. Okay, so now time to do some stuff.
I want to hear something funny. Just before we went live, my brother sent me a message,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Little known fun fact: there are more planes in the ocean than there are boats in the sky." Which he thought, he could outdo me. So immediately I replied, "Here's another fun fact: the pool in the Titanic is filled with water to this very day."
Yep. For sure, New Hampshire. Okay, so that. Oh, that was easy. Ah, crap!
What'd you do?
Put it on the same layer as the gray.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, it wasn't hard to do, so. It's just a waste of time.
Do you actually bother to name your layers? Because I name pretty much every single layer that I create.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like, right now I'm not naming them, but probably I might, if I came back to this for some reason, I wanted to do some extensiveness, I might. It's hard to say. Some of my more simpler ones like this, I don't. Because, I can.
I just find it easier to stay organized if I name my layers.
Yeah. You can see some of my stuff where I have everything layered. Depends on how many layers I think there's going to be, ultimately. You see my thing on my website where I have all those heroes, right? Well, they're all individual. Yeah. They're all individual layers, right?
Yeah.
Each one of those layers is named.
Yeah. I think the only layers I don't ever bother to name are, I often, if I ink it by hand, I'll just leave that layer unnamed because I know which layer it is. Or I obviously don't have to rename any layer that was typing because it'll automatically name it whatever you type in.
Yeah.
And I won't name the bubble underneath it because that layer is always sitting directly underneath whatever I typed. So I know it's the bubble to that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll mark this layer, actually.
Of course, I also get like really organized when I'm working on pages because I'll open up groups in Photoshop and I'll have like a different group for where all the captions and graphics and stuff like that are added in versus things that are like part of the initial art, the coloring and everything like that.
Yeah. Heck, what I end up doing too a lot of times is I create a folder, and then I put, okay, all the coloring for Canadian Shield's in this folder, all the coloring for this is that in that folder, all the coloring for...
Yeah. I think folders in Clip Studio are the same as groups in Photoshop. I mean, even the groups are signified by a folder icon. Yeah, I'll do that, especially if I'm doing something that's more complicated, to where I can't just get the flats and tones for everything onto a couple layers. If I'm painting something specifically, then I'll start grouping like individual assets.
Yeah. I think it's just like this one here, I created 6 extra layers beyond the initial pencils. I'm not going to need a lot of layers. So I think something like this is something where I probably won't end up, putting
Yeah.
just because I can see them all easily. Now it's like when I go to color the Canadian Shield number 2. Oh man, I'm gonna have so many probably bloody layers on each page.
Oh, dude, when I color a comic, I have very minimal layers for coloring for the webcomic, at least, right? And actually, I don't even have that many for the more detailed ones because I pull a lot of like cheeky stuff when it comes to like adding lighting effects and everything.
Yeah.
So I'll have the flat layer, and my flat layer is going to literally be the base layer of tones. It's not me like separating things so I know what's going to be a different color. My flats are literally just going to be the base layer of the tone since I'm coloring everything myself.
Yeah.
Then I have tone number 1, which is the first shading layer, tone number 2, which is the second shading layer, and then I'll have a highlights layer, which is usually just white light that I reflect off things. But sometimes also add a gradient layer in between my flats and my shades, just so I have kind of like this really smooth transition of color. It's subtle, but you notice it's there.
Yeah.
And then I'll add like an overlay for lighting. So at most, I'll have like 5 or 6 layers for coloring.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I usually try and do when I do coloring. I don't. I'm putting in this gray layer. That's my flats. And I guess that's sort of something John was saying about doing, and that's just more so I can have the whole image selected, so I can go around certain parts with it outside without worrying about when I come up here. And I can go like that, not that I need it to. Although he'd say I could go over that piece of hair there.
Well, you know what the best part about the way I did it was? If I ever need to go back and change the colors, it becomes super easy for me to just change everything.
Yeah, because on each layer is each particular color that you worked with,
Well, yes and no, right? So, since my main tones are only 3 layers, right? The flat and then 2 top tones.
Yeah.
What I can do is I can lock those layers, select the color using the selector tool, then I can change it on the flat layer, go up 2 layers, and I can change the toning, like the tint and the shade of it, right on top of that with just a brush. Don't have to reshade it or anything. It's all just right there. Boom, boom, boom. It's done. That's why I was able to do like an entire chapter of like color corrections while we were doing one of these streams.
Yeah. Now comes the tough part for this character. Since I don't know this one, well, I've colored her before, but I haven't done her wings really before. I just left them white. And I haven't done her hair before.
Well, she's a pigeon, right?
Dove. I know, doves are pigeons.
Yep. They're rats with wings. Yo, pigeons are smart too. I watched a video the other day where like a pigeon got into like a rooster's like hen house or whatever, got onto his like perch, started eating his food, and the rooster was like, "Hey man, don't do this," and tried to attack it, but the pigeon was not having it and just kept slapping the rooster with his wing over and over again. And the rooster didn't know what to do, and the pigeon just kept slapping him every time he came up. And eventually, the rooster fell off the perch down to the ground, and the pigeon went right back to eating.
Okay, so I made pigeons are gray, but doves are known to be white. So.
Yes, the albus pigeon is white. That's where the albus comes from.
Ah! So good. Let's just get this all the wings that color, and then we'll come to this layer and play with it. That did some. Get it off.
You know, in New York City, they had to make it illegal to throw rice after weddings because people were intentionally throwing the rice for pigeons to eat it, and then the rice would expand in their stomach and kill them.
Oh.
But that's because there's way too many pigeons in New York. People want them to die.
Yeah. I can believe that.
Though their population's probably declining now. There's nobody walking around dropping food everywhere for them to eat.
Yeah. Or very few people.
Well, it's getting fewer and fewer. People are fleeing New York like crazy.
Yeah.
Rick, why don't you ever post to Instagram?
I don't know. I've got a bunch of stuff. I know why. Because you have to do it from your phone.
No, you don't. You could do it from your computer. I used to do it all the time.
How?
Okay, so there's two ways you can do this. You can either get an extension for your browser that lets you do it, but you can actually do it without an extension.
Okay.
And I could actually show you how, I guess. Yeah, I could. But let me pull it up in its own tab.
Because I would love to be able to put stuff up because I hate trying to type on my phone all the junk that you know whatever you put up. Let's see.
Yeah, I just need to change my filter on here real quick because if you can't see the URL bar and stuff, you won't be able to know what I'm doing. Oh. So for a little bit, you can see my tabs in URL bar.
Yeah. Nobody else can see it at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just showing you. That's good. Yeah.
Although I can't really
you see,
it's really pixelated though.
Yeah, well, you don't really need to pay too much attention to specifics if you're listening to what I'm saying. This just shows you generally where it is, right? So you see how I've got Instagram up.
Yeah.
Then if we come up here, right, there's a section that says more tools.
Okay.
And there's a thing. You could also just hit Control-Shift-I, but it says developer tools, which will open up the side panel, right? Okay. Now, when this side panel is up, you see how where my cursor is? There's this like little thing right here that looks like two rectangles.
Okay, what do we got up again?
It's more tools, developer tools.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. You got it up? Okay, and then you see how there's like these little two rectangles up here.
Yeah, the 2 pages, if you will.
Yeah, and it says toggle device toolbar.
Yeah.
When you click that, it actually toggles it into like Android mode. Okay. If you're using like a phone or whatever. Now, when you first click it, it won't actually change it to where you can do anything. You have to refresh the page. But after you refresh it, you see how you have the options as if you're on the phone. And you can actually hit the plus and it'll ask you to load up an image and stuff. So you can actually use Instagram as if it's on a phone directly in your browser.
Oh. Cool.
I mean, I just use my phone because my phone is really good. But for a long time, when I didn't have access to a phone, this is how I uploaded everything.
Christopher, she's here and says, "Great, Rick is going to become an IG model." No.
But I hope that's helpful for you. And if you forget, I can run you through it again. But
no, I should be able to remember that.
it's pretty easy, right?
Yeah. And it stays down there when you go full screen. Yes.
Yep.
Shadow of Machines is here and he says, "Live streaming a tech support call. Guess I should take notes."
Well, I wouldn't call it a tech support call, but yeah, I know, because your mom had just shared your Instagram. It's like, oh, I haven't checked it in a while. Let's see if he's updated anything. And it's like, nope, 28 weeks ago was the last time you put anything on there.
Well, now that I have this...
Yeah, I would have told you about it a lot sooner if I knew that was your problem with it.
Yeah. I've done stuff on my phone and my tablet, but it's hard, doing the type. I'd rather a keyboard, to put all hashtags or whatever with.
Plus, all your files are already on this device, so you can just go and upload anything directly from your computer.
Yeah, that too, So, yeah, that's great. That is awesome as a possum. And I don't know what
Possums are pretty awesome, unless you upset them. They can be pretty vicious.
So, I don't know what makes the possum awesome, but, it rhymes, so that's what's making the possum awesome. But does it rhyme? They don't even spelled closely. Yeah, I'm saying they
Well, you don't have to be spelled closely to rhyme. The syllable has to sound the same.
Yeah. So what do you think of those?
Now, for it to have identity, though, it has to be the same, like in spelling and stuff.
Yeah. What do you think of that lightly gray wings?
That's not bad.
For, Dove Woman.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing some shading in a bit. Christopher C. says, the females carry their babies on her back.
Yeah, for just a reason why possums might be awesome.
Oh, okay. They decimate ticks and can't get Lyme disease. Another reason.
They also are very territorial and will keep other pests out of their territory. So I usually would rather just deal with one possum than a bunch of different pests.
Yeah.
But you know what also does that? Having a cat. Actually, my cat killed a possum once.
Now, what color do I want her hair? You know what? I think it's going to be black. Because she's supposed to be Israeli. Well, that's what my original idea was, but...
Israeli.
But then she's going to be part of my multiverse and end up being a little bit like Hawk Girl, but an Israeli version of Hawk Girl. Sure, why not? I convinced myself. Although I came up with Dove Woman because I came up with Dove Man before, but they look completely different.
You have a small cat colony and a possum, and they don't fight with each other? Man, that seems like a miracle of life.
Shadow says, we had a cat named Nero. We named him after the fictional detective, but we think he took after the emperor. So many small critter corpses.
Though that so if they share the same bowl, that could be just an advantage of socialization. Because we could probably guess that the reason most possums are territorial that aren't socialized is because most are mothers that you end up seeing, so they're protecting their babies. If they don't feel like there's any threat, they might not be as vicious.
Um, any idea what pigeon eyes or dove eyes, what color they are? Offhand?
Um, they can range from. I think they're like in the gamut of brown, so they can go from looking like really orange to just like almost black. I don't know if they can be outside of the brown gamut, but that's just what I've seen.
I just asked if they're gonna make these a whole eye things here brown. Yeah. Be a little different.
I mean, if you make them orange, they'll probably pop out more.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cat killed just about anything that it thought wasn't supposed to be in our yard. And he'd bring like birds and mice in all the time. We found a dead possum on the side that had his claw marks on it, and we knew it was his because he has like huge claws. They're like the size of like a hoop earring. And so like blue jays really like to mess with cats, right? They like to swoop down and pester them. My cat just like waited in the grass, and as a blue jay came down, he did like a backflip in the air, caught it like 5 or 6 feet off the ground, and like took it back down with it. Of course, that was in his younger days. He's too old to do stuff like that now. He's basically become just an indoor cat.
Oh, I'd say that's sad to hear, but well, I guess it is. You know, cats get old though, right? Everything gets old.
Well, it's probably great to hear. He lived long enough to retire.
Yeah.
We actually bought him originally, or I guess adopted him, but you have to pay money when you adopt a cat. But we went to the our local like Tri-City animal shelter type thing, and we adopted him because we were having a rodent problem. They were building, and I kid you not, a bunch of churches behind my house. Not just a single church. There's like 3 different churches on that street. Different congregations. They were building them all at the same time. I don't know why you need that many. Why can't these people all just go to the same church? But they built like 3 churches behind my house, and during that time, all the field mice, since that used to just be like slightly forested field, came running into the yards of the people who lived there.
Yeah.
And they would also get into our house. It was a mess. So like, we need a cat to hunt these mice down. and he did a really good job too. Like our mouse problem went away. So he deserved his retirement.
Yeah. Well, why they probably couldn't have, probably all different. Well, I'd say probably different denominations. That's different slightly different belief systems. Not knowing the exact what churches each of them are. But yeah, that's definitely strange three of them doing it at the same time. I'm not sure whether that's lucky or unlucky.
Yeah, well, it's like there were already enough churches in that area too, because I can count. Let's see, on the other side of the street, down on my side of the street, just past my neighborhood, there was another big church. Then there's another one down the street from that, and then if you go down the other way, just around the corner at the main intersection, there's another church. And that's just in this area. I couldn't even count how many are in the city. Of course, I'm also in Texas, which is part of the Bible Belt. So there's probably more churches than actually necessary because all the congregations are just really, really small. And you have like doubles of the same denomination in some cities.
Yeah.
They're just in their own little clique.
Yeah, well, I know in our city, we've got several Pentecostal churches, but, we're 500,000. It depends on how far any one person wants to travel in some ways, or sometimes it's like pastors or whatever.
Well, you're also in Hamilton, which is a much bigger city than where I am, right? Okay. This was when I was growing up. In which I remember when we moved here, this city had less than 20,000 people in it.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what it has now, but I could probably find it. It's gone up quite a bit. But yeah, we only have 48,000 people in this town. It's not very big. I mean, it's still big enough that people in the rural section would call it a city, and I wouldn't argue against them. But 48,000 is not very big.
Yeah. Christopher says, sounds like they need to start taxing church businesses good.
I actually have always made the argument that I think you should tax churches. But I think what you should do is give them the option to not be taxed by giving them tax cuts proportionately based on the amount of charity that they do. Because I do believe there's a lot of people that abuse the freedom of religion and stuff like that and the nonprofit status of churches to basically run a full business and not get taxed for it. And so if you did it proportionate to, let's say, the population of the church, you wouldn't have to do a lot of charity work to still reach your nonprofit status. But then something as big as, like, say, Joel Osteen's church down in Houston probably would never be able to do enough charity work to ever beat the amount of profits that they get just because of the size of things. And I mean, his church really is a business more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, I don't know much about his church. I'm not a big fan of his with some of the things he's said.
Oh, me neither.
Christopher says, yeah, like most of them. Well, there's a lot of churches that do charity that sometimes you don't even see what the charity they're doing.
Yeah, but there'll be records of it, right?
Yeah.
So like a small church with like a congregation of 50 to 100 people, right? which is it's not hard to have that big of a congregation. That's almost nothing. That's a few families, right? So a small church like that, it would be really easy to just do a few outreach programs, actually going out feeding people and stuff, like a real work that helps people, and to retain a nonprofit status because of how small the congregation is. And these are usually the churches, the smaller ones that are like under 500 members, that end up doing the most work for their communities.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Unfortunately, in a lot of churches, there's like, it ends up being 20% of the people do 80% of the work. I think it's,
Well, that's just anywhere. That's the Pareto division and the Matthew principle at work.
yeah. The Matthew principle, I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah, it's called the Matthew principle or the Matthew effect, right? And it basically has to do with accumulated wealth as well as effort, right? And that's the idea that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But there's more to it than just that. And then you have the Pareto distribution, which has to do with talent, right, or an effect, and also who will put the effort into. And typically, you have what they call the square root law, where no matter how big you make a group, about the square root of that group will end up doing about 50% of the whole work.
Christopher says he thought for a church to be tax exempt, they had to be non-political. Well,
I don't believe that's true here in the States. I would prefer it to be. I think any nonprofit to be tax exempt should be non-political, which also I think that these political parties shouldn't be tax exempt.
Yeah. Here, I know in Canada, churches can't be political. They can, offers. They get around it more and like, yes, a certain person needs, candidate needs help or whatever. That's about the best that they can do here, for campaigning or whatever. That's the most that they can do here in Canada.
Also, I just said something wrong. Pareto distribution has nothing to do with that. Pareto distribution is groups falling around the means. So most things will be average and not at the tail ends of stuff, like a bell curve. Price's law is the one about the square root law. I don't want to misspeak.
Okay, so I think I got anything here. Oh, it's okay now. Do it. Shading and tinting. That's one small hula hoop. It's not a hula hoop. It's supposed to be some sort of belt something like that you would have seen Rogue wear.
Oh, is it supposed to be like loose on her?
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, there's probably better ways to do that.
yeah. I'd probably put a
I always
belt
kind of
buckle.
liked Miss Marvel's sash that she had.
Yeah. I just like the belt thing that loose belt that what Rogue had. So I think I've put it on a couple characters.
Well, you could always be like a Japanese designer and just have like way too many belts on your costume around all like the biceps, the calves, everywhere, just belts.
I'd be belting it out.
A costume made entirely of belts, like Lulu's skirt from Final Fantasy X. It's literally just made of belts going down from her waist to the ground.
That might be interesting. A costume made entirely of belts, but it might take too long to put on.
Oh, well, you're assuming they ever take it off.
Oh yeah,
They might have like this weird affinity for the belts. The only time they ever take one off is when they're replacing one.
yeah. Well, what if they had to go to the washroom?
Well, then you only take off the amount that you need.
Yeah, well, depending on how you put the belt on, that could be quite a few, and what you have to do.
Or you could cheat, right? And you could just have like a very thin costume underneath that all the belts are attached to. So you could take it off just like anything else.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea. Cut where the zipper is in the back or whatever.
Yeah, you just asphyxiate it in such a way that it looks like the belts are still intact.
Should try and draw that once. Well, it almost would be no different than mummy wrap.
Except with a bunch of buckles everywhere.
Yeah.
That'd be my version of the buckler. He's named after all the belt buckles.
You can call the character Belt Buckler.
Oh, and then yeah, he said that. I saw it now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all magical belts somehow. You can take one off and each one does something different. Buckler. Buckler, 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 buckler.
Or it could be worse. What, you know those belt buckles that are actually like seat belts? Could be the seat buckler.
The seatbelt buckler.
And he seems like he's a superhero at first, but he's actually like running around and just beating the tar out of people who don't click up and buckle their seatbelts. So he's actually kind of like, he's a villain who thinks he's doing good, kind of like a Bizarro type thing.
Yeah. It's the Bizarro buckler. People should let John know about this.
Click it or ticket.
If you don't click it, you'll get ticket.
But sir, this isn't a ticket, this is a beating.
How do we get the Bizarro Ray into some sort of Bizarro Ray into the Cursed Comics verse? Click it or ticket? Says Christopher. So I do have somebody for the week after next week for talking to. It's an easy one. Johnny's Law.
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
It is on IndieCron, so. I'm not sure whether you wanted anything for it or tell me. That would.
Oh, I mean, you know, like usual, you could just send me the link to the project.
Yeah. Hey, Timothy. Timothy's here. No, not much.
Yeah, you know, Pixel's a cool guy and everything. I just don't normally find myself surfing IndieCron. But that's also because I don't find myself just searching for things to buy because I'm poor.
Yeah. Well, the heck, the main reason I go there and look is I'm trying to find somebody to interview.
Yeah. I need to start doing stuff like that, man. Like, I haven't started scheduling interviews for the after hour show I do on the Vomitorium. I only ever did the one with Jason. Because like immediately afterwards, that's when I started this manga, and I haven't had time to start scheduling things like that.
Yeah.
But I need to get people on to talk about, you know, whatever interests them one-on-one.
Here it is. Back now I need to go. I'll send the message to you on Twitter. There it is. Hey, Eagle, how are you? And of course, how is Timothy? Where am I? There we go.
Man, no, that last one really was a train wreck.
sweet.
Partially my fault too, because normally I come on to help out, but much like how the guest was exhausted from already being on an interview beforehand, I did not even sleep before that. So, like, I was just kind of like forcing myself through trying to think of questions. Usually I'm better at coming up with questions.
Yeah. Well, it was still good. It was a good hour interview. Yeah, I would have liked it to go for full 2 hours, but, maybe, me expecting a guest to come on for 2 hours and talk about their book, that might be a big expectation on my part. I'm not sure whether anybody would agree with that.
Oh, I agree with Christopher on this, though. I wish they didn't use avatars, like if people actually came on with their cameras, because the expressions would have been great.
Yeah.
Honest came on with her camera, though. That was actually probably the most fun one out of it. We had a good time.
Yeah.
And, Tim had his camera on, too. So not everybody, but that last guy definitely was just an avatar.
Yeah. I know for next week, he's going to be about 15 minutes late. So he's going to be here for about 10:15, he was saying. 9:15 his time. What's up with those wings? What do you mean exactly, Timothy?
I think he means the fact that they don't look like wings.
I tried to do the best out of a hot girl pose that I got. Here, I'll show. Should be able to get the hot girl pose that I did. Obviously not precisely like that. So there's the hot girl pose I used yesterday that I was looking at.
Oh god, her wings are jank even in the pose that you referenced. Like, I even get what they're trying to do there, because you could kind of get that silhouette out of a wing. They just kind of did it all wrong.
Yeah, and obviously I didn't get it nowhere near precise. Especially with this wing, by the time I got to here, I was running out of page.
Yeah. Like, the figure for this original artist is great. Like, they know what they're doing with the figure, but man, I would have just like personally scrapped the wings and did it myself from scratch.
Yeah, I probably should have, but I thought they were better artists than me, so maybe I should go with them. I probably should have went, with Christopher says, hell yeah, she looks like a half-plucked chicken. Her wings look like they got shredded. Yeah, I should have probably just chose from a different version of Hot Girl that I had. At least for the wings. I would have maybe I should have went with that one put a version of that one's wings on.
Well, I'm also to make another criticism. The foreshortening in the picture you based is obviously not as bad as yours, but I don't like their back leg either.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have just referenced that picture, man. That's much better.
I guess I just like, in a lot of ways, I like that pose, the flying, although I got the arm nowhere near. I got it probably up to about halfway, and then, oh crap, I messed up.
Actually, the more I look at this, the more I dislike this picture. I feel like the coloring is really what makes this picture. Just because the foreshortening past the hip is just awful.
Yeah.
Like the left leg doesn't look like it belongs on that body.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's drooping too low. So it actually would have to be closer, which means you have to bend the leg more, but it's kind of supposed to be flying straight back. So it should actually be narrowing even more and be higher up. It's not actually following the line of the body.
Which might have been why I had a hard time doing things, trying to copy it. Timothy says, yeah, it looks she is falling to her doom. What other pictures was I've... And Timothy says, sorry, I mean, you should give her a thought balloon saying, oh, actually, I don't think I actually was thinking about that one. Because I don't really like that one too much. But that's not too bad. I think I might have thought of that one a little.
Yeah, that's not a bad job of trying to emulate the power of the pose.
And then,
I don't like her head in that one though.
I had this one up at first. I think this was one that I was really considering. Right here.
Yeah, I do like the coloring on that. How it kind of like blues out as it goes off to the side.
Although I don't think I considered this one, but this one probably wouldn't have been too bad either. Timothy said her boobs look funny. And this probably would have been a good one to go with here.
Yeah, that's not a bad pose.
And I've actually did this one before. Actually, drawn that up. I should actually show that. I have.
I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. No, not quite as good as the person that originally did it, but, you know. But I did want to recopy the same pose for Dove Woman. Nope, what? Nope, not as good.
I am back.
Yeah. And here's my as you probably see, my version of not that one, not that one, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, the leg. I got the legs in a slightly different position. Too, which is probably why it doesn't match up quite as thing. Christopher says at least the feathers match on both sides. Yeah, wings are decent. Eyes look crooked. Oh, I can believe it. But that was also said. How long ago was that? Did it say? I've done some better stuff since the wings. Oh. That was the beginning, right? That was February of last year. So this is over a year old, this picture, although the coloring was done. Yeah, that eye is crooked. It's up, slanted too high. Okay, so let's get on to another layer here. I'm gonna actually leave that. Let's put one layer up here. Let's just do some gray. Well, actually, it doesn't matter whether you can do it for Firefox or not. That's gonna. I like that Instagram thing now.
Yeah, it's very helpful, right?
You know, I haven't put much up on Twitter for pictures and all that either lately, but, you know. Heck, I can even put now. I can, go to Instagram and put up maybe a post about this, going on, or different things. So I like that too.
Oh yeah, I just realized why it's so dead here. It's Thursday. Drawn and Quartered Ultimate Edition is going on.
Yeah. And now you've taken away the rest of our viewers. There goes Christopher and Timothy over to watch.
I think they're doing Dragon Ball today, too.
Is this a concept sketch or a practice sketch? For me, are you talking about?
Both. I'm gonna say both.
Christopher's still here. Of course, I was joking. I hope you know Christopher. The colors are different. For the wings, is definitely concept, and the eyes. The design of the costume is basically what I've had before, except I brung down the neckline so it would encompass the whole head easier. There are some things, that have changed. I don't know a lot about the character. I've started delving into characters that are going to appear. I don't know when they're going to appear. I've created.
Rick, how many times do I have to tell you? You don't let people know that you don't know a lot about your characters. Let them believe that you know everything about your characters.
Yeah, but then they ask, and I look like a fool.
Well, you already look like a fool when you say you don't know something about your characters.
Well, I think it's better to be honest and not look like a little bit of a fool than, not so honest and look like a complete utter fool.
You know what I would do? I would use those questions as an opportunity to develop the character further. Just keep a notepad next to you. Somebody asks a question. Just, go with your gut. Be like, hey, what's the answer to this question, right? And then write it down so you remember later to add it to the profile.
Yeah. Timothy says, the Canadian Shield actually looked good. Well, nothing wrong with admitting you're still in the creative process, Metal. That's fine. You're welcome from yours. Yep. Put it back in my wall. But on my Monday nights where I'm showcasing my characters now, I'm diving into characters that are going to appear sometime after the first year and a half, and maybe there is going to be some character development because of these, stuff.
Timothy says, in fact, after his first interview, he spent a week writing down and developing most of his characters. Good on you. You should do that.
Was that the interview he had on here?
And no one knows absolutely everything about their character because you have to leave some wiggle room for development and story.
Yeah.
But I usually don't even really tell anybody about a character until I have all the important details about them sorted out.
Yeah. Give me these. It says, "Oh, geez, I wonder. What do you think?" I kept notes by me just in case I needed to write something down.
And by important details, I don't mean like you even need to know every single detail about where this character is going in their life. But as a writer, you do need to know the answers to questions about expectations, right? Because you need to be setting up expectations for your reader as soon as possible. So you need to kind of know, like, at least what's the driving force behind their story, uh, like what's the philosophical force behind the character and stuff like that. There are very important things that you as a writer should know, even if you're leaving most things up to discovery.
Yeah. Okay, I got something for everybody here. It's the birds! The return of the birds!
Oh no, you're just gonna brush in a bunch of birds in the background. I guess for this character, it'd be a bit more fitting because she is bird themed.
I took it out. I just wanted to do that as a big joke. Actually, I did want to, when I did do that stuff, I wanted to use other bird stuff, but they just didn't go over quite as well for various reasons. Christopher says, no! Timothy, yeah. Yeah. Timothy says you should send Dylan a picture of nothing but those birds. Yeah,
He probably won't even respond. Like he's boycotting Rick.
Then again, he might tell me to flock off.
Oh, he wouldn't.
See,
He would be much more crass and avoid the pun.
See, I would have liked to use these ones too, but unfortunately they don't color in whatever colors you want. The seagulls.
Well, can't you just use the fill brush to fill them in later if they're on their own layer?
Guess I could. Now let's see.
Like you should have a fill tool, right?
Well, it's probably something I should have thought of but didn't. Actually, I probably could have done it this way. And let's select invert. Let's create a layer underneath. And then yeah, I could have done that. Oops.
I want you to know that like troubleshooting for like things that you could do in that manner in Clip Studio is probably half the reason Todd keeps me around.
Let's see. Or I could have included all of it. Probably have like seagulls or pigeons. So yeah, I could probably just let's try that with the pigeons. Christopher says, I can't wait for Dillard to make a cartoon about Rick and those birds. That underneath. And then we'll just go fill. Okay, that didn't go over so well. And then probably what happens if I take a brush, airbrush, and select, see what happens. No. That doesn't go over good. No. I can do it with I can apparently do it with whatchamacallit, but I can't do it things. Let's see. Starlings. Hey, just be glad I didn't use the starlings. Look at those.
Yeah, I don't like those at all.
Hey, Reed, how are you? Willie the Reed is here. So it's actually boycotting me all because of... Wow. I don't know what...
Oh, actually, Dillard's talking smack about you in the Drawn and Quarter chat. I have it open in the other tab.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he's like, Rick Piper's Canadian shield was colored by Pope Raven, parentheses, beloved figurehead of the cult of Raven. Rick then decided to improve, in quotations, the colors, and colored over Pope Raven's colors, a travesty. I got a knuckle sandwich for him if I ever see that Piper's ugly mug. It's especially egregious because Pope Raven colored his book out of the kindness of his large and giving heart.
After he won a contest. Oh, that part's not there.
Well, I know we were actually all making fun of your contest because it's like, man, what kind of prize for winning a contest is doing work?
Yeah, and yet you want to know whose suggestion that was?
John's.
Yeah. I was just going to color it myself. I'm like, I'm not sure whether this is going to work, John. And actually, Pope Raven came in second place in the contest, too.
Oh, yeah? Did the first place turn it down?
Yeah, because I think it was Raggedy because he had work to do on, what's the name of it?
Relentless?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I had gotten the picture for your contest completely flattened, and I was about to go in and actually add tones and stuff. But then I was like, wait a minute. I've got other things to work on. And I'm just gonna turn it down if I win anyway. So why am I doing this? No offense. I have way too much stuff to do.
Yeah. Like I said, I was surprised anybody actually turned in anything.
Yeah.
Because the prize is, wow, you get to color a book. You get the honor of coloring the Canadian Shield.
Yeah, he says it's silly to be mad about adding birds. And it's like, well, I think Alfred Hitchcock might think otherwise.
Well, it's more than just quote unquote birds, but.
Oh yeah, because you added like spatial effects, like the haze on the volcano and stuff, and there's quite a bit of a few things here and there in different panels.
It's just that, I didn't have a lot of time and I did what I thought was best for the book, because, I want people to come and buy a second book.
Yeah. Well, I know getting a hold of him is really hard. But if it wasn't, I would have said in all that spare time that you had trying to get the money, you should have tried to get some of the pages back and be like, hey, can you redo this panel to make it look more like how I need it to be?
Yeah. There's the thing, too, I didn't know at what point I was going to get that money, too, so. And hamburgers in the lava, St. Christopher. Arthur Reed says, Dylan drama still going? Yeah. So it's the Canadian Shield Special Edition. Yep, Reed. Is this gonna digitally put Jabba the Hutt back into?
Hashtag release the Pope Raven cut.
Well, I can always do the Pope Raven cut digitally. And give people that digitally. Although, because I did think of doing my original version digitally, giving people the option of having that too. Timothy says, well, he is the Pope of Ravens. No, not the Pope of Ravens, the Pope of Raven.
I thought he was a Pope that was Raven.
Ravenous.
Kind of like how like Pope Fire both is and isn't Starfire at the same time. Rick, I'm gonna tell you now. This is a really bad effect.
Oh man, this is tricky. I was looking for a whole bunch of yellow. Let's see. Let's try that. Is that better?
No, well, why are you going with this weird triangle thing?
I don't know.
What effect are you trying to get out of it? Maybe I can help you do this better.
I was just trying to do it quick, some sort of like sunbeam type stuff.
Okay, so you want like subtle light rays or whatever coming out?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want it that hard though, right? So what you should do instead is you should, on its own layer, just take it out, take a very soft brush, right? And then with a solid color, paint your light rays.
Well,
And then I'll teach you what you do on top of that afterwards.
okay, so I am.
Deselect. You don't want those triangles.
Oh, yeah.
And take a brush whose softness or hardness, whatever, is either if it's hardness, it's 50% or below. If it's softness, it's 50% or above. Right? You want it pretty soft.
Yeah.
You can even go to 0 if you want. It doesn't matter.
This is showing 1 for the hardness.
Hardness, yeah. Keep the hardness at 1. Whatever, anything below 50%, you can start doing good.
I'm on the airbrush and it's got it blending mode, normal, hardness. There's only clicked 1.
Yeah, it's all good, right?
50.
Now, you want to paint your light rays out in the direction you want, just like as if you were just going to draw anything. You probably want them thicker than that. And what I'm basically going to do right now is you're just going to paint the area, right? So you see that area down here? That's empty-ish. If that's where you want your light source to come on, you want more light down there. You're basically going to paint the area of the light. So even if you want to do like a circle, whatever, just paint it all. However you're going to do, you want the lighting to come out.
Yes, that's... Let's see. Light source is off.
Yeah. Now, what I think will help your rays too, right? Because we're basically doing this to control the opacity, right? So now make the brush rather big, right? Maybe towards like a quarter the size of your paper.
It can only go up to this size. 2,000.
Okay, that's fine. Just make a circle using it from the bottom corner. Like just like a quarter circle in the bottom corner to where it fades off. Just so it looks like the light is coming from that direction and bright, right?
Like that?
You make it bigger than that. Up past that cloud, that cloud in the corner. Just make it go past that a little bit. Yeah. Now I want you to take your eraser tool, or even this, and set it to clear. or transparency, whatever it is, and I want you to do the opposite thing in the opposite corner. Like I want you to clear out a faded circle in the opposite corner. Because you kind of want like this blended effect. And then I'm going to show you what you do after you have your directional lights.
Okay.
It's probably not going to look the best way it can, but I'm teaching this so you can mess around and do it yourself later on.
I don't think anything's going to show up here because there's no
Yeah, that's fine.
of it.
But once you have it like this, there is a option on the layer itself, right? When you see your layer section in the corner.
Yeah.
And let me look what it looks like on yours. There should be one of the locks. Looks like it locks the transparency. Like it'll have like the alpha grid, right?
Yeah, I'll have transparency pixel.
Yeah, so you want to lock that. And now that you have that, you can take your gradient or whatever and drag it across that shape, and it will keep the fuzziness. And you won't have like this really just like starch, hard-edged light like you would with your selection. Now, you could have also feathered your selection, but that's a lot more complicated.
Oh, I totally that. Timothy says, you know, there is a gift from the movie The Birds. What do you think of that?
The lighting part's fine. I do not like that hard black edge in the corner.
That better?
That's better. Yeah. It's not as bad. But you really got to learn how to use the layer locking tools to your advantage.
Yeah, I gotta learn.
Because you can get a lot of control over things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about this program. I've learned a little bit, which I think has helped me with coloring, but I've also need a lot to learn.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't even have this program. It works so much like Photoshop.
Yeah.
And like I said, every single time I'm in a call with Todd, he's usually asking me like, hey, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And even though I don't have Clip Studio, I pretty much know what to do most of the time.
Yeah.
Because of how similar it is to Photoshop.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that for quite some time, that they're very similar. The only great thing
I actually took a college course over Photoshop.
The only great thing is, this is, once you buy it, it's free. You don't have to do it every month.
Yeah, well, that's how Photoshop used to be, and I actually refuse to use Creative Cloud. I only use the older versions. I'm on CS6 at the moment.
Dillard Timothy says, oh my god, Dills is still going on. Of course, that's John for you. To go on, he goes on and on, my friend. He's the guy that never ever ends. Okay, so we are
at the 5-minute mark.
Less than 5 minutes. We are at the hour mark.
Oh, how far behind are we from the stream? Because the stream says 150. Oh, that's right. We did 4 minutes of not streaming because we were over on Twitch.
Yes. Reread what I said. OMG, Dills is getting it on that stream. What is he getting it on that stream? Timothy? Well,
they're probably calling him out on stuff because they usually do. I don't know. But I take it as time for me to promote. That's why I pop my URL up.
yeah.
And like always, I want people to go to xdynamuschaos.com. If you happen to be watching now or see this later on, I have a bunch of free stuff that you can engage in. Stories, comics, prose, and even a bunch of character bios. I'm starting to add stuff about like different creatures, locations, and stuff like that too. And you know, it's a lot of fun stuff.
Timothy says they're getting at him for shitting on other artists. I guess.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Because I saw Dillard in the chat say, because I can't hear it, I just have the chat open, saying to please stop drawing for me as a favor.
Okay, so yeah, thanks. I don't know why I'm showing that. Yeah, show my face. Thanks everybody for coming out, watching, being with me here in Metal. I hope you've had a good time. We will be back, of course, tomorrow night doing drawing and chilling. I'm not sure what we will be working on. Some good news. I did not report last night, but you're gonna put a who's those bios, like who's a who comic? Eventually, yes, Timothy. But what was I saying? Oh, good news. I have got the artist started on the Canadian Shield #2. I gotta get him some good pics for Toxico from my Blender thing. I just gotta figure out
who's the artist?
Efren A. Cresto. He did a picture or two for the Amazon book, the coloring book.
Oh, okay, that was that dude that you were telling me about that I had no idea who it was.
Yeah, E.A. Christos. Hopefully we'll have him on in a few weeks, you know, after he's sent me some pages. We're going to be working closely together to get this book good, and he might even be doing the Snowdrift #1 as well.
Okay, cool. It's good that you got a guy.
Yeah, well, he's a better artist than me, so he's gonna do it from scratch. I gave him what I did, and I said, you know, you can either do the same stuff or you can do something entirely different. You know, for your layout. You know, the number of panels I have a page or what I have, right? And,
yeah.
But you know, you can do it. You know, put them on the page differently. You can do different angles, all that. You know.
Yeah. Usually, like I told you, the way I do my scripts are I have a suggested panel flow with what panels I want. But as long as the information that is supposed to be on the page is still on there, they can kind of do it however they want.
Yeah. So, you know, that's good. And like I said, I might get him, if we can get the things done for those thumbnails with the kidney Snowdrift, might give them to him too. Along with, I'll probably go over everything like I have been still for Dillard's thumbnails, and maybe give it, because there'll be a little bit more information in the stuff that I go over. Easier, hopefully, to make out. But that's all said and done. We will catch you all later tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now. God bless. See you tomorrow.